Well, it's springtime. It's 60 degrees out today, and for like next 2 weeks or so. So I brought the mini excavator over here to start working on cutting the trench for this, and then realized, hey, while I'm breaking that up, I probably should be recording. So I already started breaking up some of that rock that was there. Now it's just gotta continue breaking it up, getting it out of the way. Yeah, I don't have enough screenings here to make the actual base for everything, but I think my goal today, or right now at least, is to kind of just cut the trench for it. Let's see what I can do. really smoothly, I guess, actually. All back here was very, very easy digging. I am not skilled with the excavator yet, so yeah, I'm struggling with at least keeping it flat, but I'm getting it there, And actually, I'm still dealing with some frozen ground over here. But this is what I had left of the screenings that I could kind of scoop out. You do see some more of it over here, and I did end up dumping some up there, but that was like really mixed in. Unfortunately, I buried where the rock was. I did not get the whole rock out. Don't need to. It's not a big wall, so I'm not worried about the subsurface. It's just kind of a decorative wall. But yeah, I took some chunks out and everything. So I got that down. Can rake all this out, get screenings in here, level it all out, and then get that wall going. Gonna do that in the next couple days. It's still a whiles away from Easter, but I wanna get this section done before Easter. We always have Easter at my house, so I want to get this section done, and if I don't start working on it, it won't get done. Yeah, so maybe next clip will be raking all this out, getting the new screenings in here, and compacting it. All right, well, we got a little bit ahead of ourselves today, and we got the wall in, and we're actually starting to backfill with all the 3/4 stone. We don't have the wall cap in yet to match the other, but yeah, got this coming along, redressing everything up, cleaning it all up. We don't have enough stone for everything, but the focus is get the stone up there. This stone will come after, and any extra that we have today will come and put in here. But it's coming together, it's looking good. Got to get more fabric down also, but that's why this isn't priority. Up there's priority right now. custom fabric to fill in the sliver over here.
Right here?
Yeah, and then custom fabric to fill in over there. Better? Better.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want honey. Ready, got you. I did it.
You did it. Watch your foot. Watch your foot.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Watch.
Put a nice dent in it.
No, I put a scratch. Is it clear to close up?
No, nowhere close.
See what you can take out with your fingers. We might just have to pop the pins and shovel it. Yeah, grab a shovel. We'll shovel this one. Grab two. The squares would be better.
Okay, well I'm at Matt's currently. Timber. I need to run a wall. Okay, that works even better. Run a wall, man. That sounds good to me. Give me my juggle. I found the culprit.
Yeah, there's two over here. We need something stronger to flex the gate to release it.
I don't think you can just.
I mean, I can pull on the gate with the bucket. Because there's going to be too much pressure against. Yeah, you got those. Try those.
Yeah.
Hey, go sit down. Sit down.
And it did.
Okay, I want to walk you over.
All right. Now we can get this. here, I kind of, I don't know, roughly painted out somewhat of what I want to do with the landscape stone. The stone on the right is going to end up extending to about where the paint line is. So right now I'm just going to kind of be scalping out some of the grass, digging it down some so it's not such a big hump, and kind of figuring how I want to go with this. I do have a feeling the paint line is actually going to end up growing more towards the Bobcat bucket over there, but I'd rather start off small and see if I want to go bigger. Ultimately, let's get this back in here. All the way across down through here, along the side of the rock over here, there's a faint line. Let's put the bucket at it. The left edge of the bucket right there is at the old faint line, where I think I'm going to be taking the grass out and extending the stone through there, kind of make a walking path, or continue the walking path along the deck to get to the stairs, rather than walking on the grass all the time to get to the stairs. But I'm not doing that right now. I only have a little while, so it is just going to be this side for now. So let's get situated.
catch that.
The point is to try and save it.
That wasn't saving. I'm still gonna try and save it. Doing that wasn't working. Let's stay away from it, as I need the hook. I got my other bucket way over here. Slide the edge, grab an edge. Not working. Let's just unload that. I can hurt it, am I? I mean, it's meant to make it. So many rocks in this yard. It's hard to imagine I used to dig everything in this yard by hand. No, thank you. Not anymore. And I think to do the rest, I'm going to need to change over to the tooth bucket because I don't plan on extending it. This bucket's 42 inches wide. I don't plan on extending the rest of the way at least that much. Or that much. I plan on extending it less. So, yeah, I'm going to get out and take a look at this anyway, see how I like it. Over here, I might want to go a little bit more curved. But then again, I don't want to go into the yard too much. I don't know. I'll see.
Alright, well, I just cleaned up that edge a little. I took that piece of metal out. I still have more down here. But I kicked some of the dirt off the gravel, cleaned that up. I think I'm gonna leave this right now. I'm gonna check with the wife, see what she thinks. Everything we're doing is trying to go curved. So this being a straight line kind of goes against that. But if we curve it, I mean, if we take it out a foot right there, right on that mark, it cuts into the yard, and I'm still going to be driving like my truck over here to get firewood and whatnot. So I don't know. I gotta decide. A foot's not a lot, but it gives it a curve. So I don't have the time right now to change the bucket over to the tooth bucket, because from here past, I mean, you can see the white lines, I think, right there. It gets very, very narrow of what I'm actually going to be removing. So don't want to use the 42-inch bucket. I'm going to use the 24-inch bucket and go from there. But that'll be another day. I took the Bobcat, smoothed out this area, got rid of some of the attachments, or not got rid of, just moved them, put them away. And then I was taking the dirt I took out of there, dumping up here to fill in behind the retaining wall. We are getting closer and closer with every load. Still need more, but use up what I can here before I have to bring some in. I'm gonna go through, now that we're getting closer to the surface, I'm gonna go through and pick out a bunch of these rocks. I don't want to have rocks showing up in my grass. Over here, I gotta decide exactly what extent I'm going to do. So I gotta fill in behind the retaining wall, yes. But there's this like low gully here that I ideally want to get rid of. So I'm thinking, like, where was it? I'm just gonna take this. I think originally, like right around where that rock is, I was planning on coming across like just a artificial line coming across like this and leveling this over, bringing all that up so it's fairly level, and then from here over this way have it taper to the driveway. So that taper will be slightly steeper than what it currently is. This is like level, but yeah, it'll be slightly steeper than what it is, but over here will be brought up and actually tapered towards the backyard, rather than all this water flow coming to the driveway, which that in turn creates more water issues down the driveway, which are going to be another video. But yeah, we'll see. All right, I have started the process of installing the walkway stones. I got a few of them in, 1, 2, 3, and yeah, this is gonna be a long, slow, tedious process, but I do like how it looks. I got 20 of them over there. I don't know exactly how many I'm going to use, not all of them to get through here. So I still think I'm probably going to put another one right here, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes. Going to do the walkway down through here towards the pallet. But this is going to be long, slow, tedious, so it'll be good. I'm sure it's going to look great. Alright, I got the main walking path in, and I am very, very pleased with how it looks. And I went as far as I really can. Over here, I have the space to put another, but I don't actually have the elevation to put another. The stone just tapers off to nothing right there. It's not the 3-4 inches thick I want, because we still have to do the edging across over there and fill this whole stone in. The retaining wall is not going to go anymore. That's just going to be a taper. So yeah, that's going to be for another time. I have 10 stones left, or 10 blocks left. So this is 9 right here. I didn't even measure it, but it's got to be 30 feet or so. So if I were to do another 9 here, I'd probably get to about where the landing starts. Not at the bottom of the stairs, but the landing for the stairs. I'd probably get to about there. And I say 9 because I might take one of those and see how it fits over right here to create, or to continue the walking path up through. So I'm about to take one over here, just set it down on top before I move any of the gravel and see how it looks. I really need to measure how heavy one of these are, because they're heavy. They're 2 foot by 2 foot by 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inch thick. I didn't measure that. All right, so too far. That's about in line with the other. I don't know. I think I like it. Everything to me normally has to be even, but this space right here is different than that space right there. But I don't like the idea of walking through the bare gravel to the front door, especially come winter time. So I think I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I just made my decision. I'm gonna do it. All right, well, I'm back at it again today. I took a couple little scoops, but I plan on getting all this dug out and meeting up on the other side of the machine where I already have it dug out. Maybe I can get the metal track that goes along in here out and relocate it to the other side and get some fabricant. Maybe not. I don't know how much time I have today. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to redig this curve by hand, but that'll be all right. I mean, not really. I hate my yard. It's rock after rock after rock, but nothing else I can do here. I don't have the skill to make that curve. Yeah, let's get to it.
further along the 3/4 layout. I just need to put in the everything up. Get an idea of how to keep myself on this. And I'll go.
All right, I have the edging cut out and I have the metal edging track moved over. I am about 6 feet short, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that because I don't even know where you can get this anymore. I bought it off of Marketplace many years ago. So I'm gonna have to look into that, see if I can get a piece for that. But yeah, I have the track in here. I'm gonna rake back some of this dirt on the edging that's mixed in with the decorative stone. Once I do that, I'll lay down some landscape fabric and rake over some of the decorative stone onto the landscape fabric. I have a whole pile. Over there that should be enough to do all this, but I don't have the Bobcat here, and I don't want to be tracking back and forth with the Mini a whole bunch of times because the bucket's not going to hold nearly as much as the Bobcat. Yeah, I'm a little winded. All the rocks, I mean, every rock I'm hitting, I have a 9-inch thumb to pinky measurement, so every rock I'm hitting is big. Oh yeah, little side note, I don't care the brand or not, never buy a hammer with a hook claw like that. Buy a straight claw. These things are useless. I can't tell you how many times I just bashed my fingers trying to hook something out. Yes, I'm using a hammer to pry out rocks, but I don't even use those in carpentry or construction at all because they do the same thing. Buy a straight claw, not a hook claw. Or any brand. All right, yeah, let's get to this. I'm gonna scrape this back. I'm gonna blade all this up. Later on, if I have time, I'll smooth out some of the fill dirt that I dropped over there. But yeah, this is the focus. I want to get the landscape fabric in here, get some of the decorative stone down. That way when I do get the Bobcat back here, I can just scoop it, dump it in here. And this section, the lower portion of the wall, will be basically done. I mean, especially once I'll be able to get the rest of these stones in once I have the fabric and the stone down. So yeah, that's the focus.
doing is raking the edge down because dirt over the years has gone over the edge of the edging, and there's like grass growing in it and whatnot. So I'm going to get that down. Oops. Get that down. Put landscape fabric over the top of it. And just going back. That's purely because I haven't maintained this edge over here. Partly because I've always had this idea of doing this, and it really doesn't require maintenance every like 5 years. That's the benefit of this phone. Now I'm further away, I might actually be able to grab this with the phone. No. Oh, definitely loose enough though. I need to get this blade turned around without tearing up the grass. I should say, without tearing
All right, so that's in for that. I just need to get the Bobcat back from the other job that it's at. That's going to be probably a couple, 2-3 weeks before that gets back here. And I'll fill that all in with stone and get the walking treads in there. But for now, let's get some of this dirt up here behind the retaining wall. And this keeps getting closer to the final elevation. let's get some of this cap glued on. Dry fit, because you know if I get glue on it and then I go to fit it, it's not going to fit. Kind of like that. I think I got to break right across that. Alright, let me get the hammer and chisel. Alright, well, I don't have the hammer, chisels, or the saw here to cut that one. So, unfortunately, I'm going to start on the next one up. I'm going to have to go back to it and fit it in after. So, let's get this one clean. And that is exactly why you dry fit. Wish I had a smaller broom here. Like a soul.
tell you, these things are heavy.
All right, and then not this cap because I don't like how this broke, but another cap is gonna go on basically like that, and then I'll have to do, then I'll start from one end and do the cap all the way around to the other end. But right now we're gonna go over to this side right here and I got to figure out what I'm going to do between the cap and the corner blocks. So yeah, let's see what we can do. Alright, we have our corner blocks and our actual cap blocks. I don't know what it's going to take to cover this up. Yeah, and make it look good. It's going to kind of be difficult. I might end up not being able to do it today because I kind of feel like I'm going to be putting a corner block and then I have to overlap with a cap block. I don't know. Let's place some out and see what it looks like. So far, I think what I'm going to end up doing is, on each one of these, a full cap, a half cap, but actually a cut joint. Take the saw and cut that, and then put a cornerstone to match that cut joint here. And that cornerstone is going to sit on the lower layer cap. That's going to go over to a half cap and just repeat. Which unfortunately means I don't have the saw here to make those cuts. But I think that's the best option because, well, let me move this up there and I'll give a reference. All right, that is what I think I'm gonna do. Yeah, I like that the most, I guess. Again, that being a cut joint. So it looks like this. That one's a little chipped up, so I'm probably gonna swap that out. But yeah, cut joint. Unfortunately, we'll have an inline parallel joint here. But we have a face edge, smooth, cut joint, and I'll just progress down. I think that's going to be my best option. And then the cap will just continue all the way across. Again, this will start with a half, so the joints are staggered, and that way so the joints up here aren't even. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go. Again, I don't have the saw here, so on to another day. Alright, I got a whole lot of progress done on this capstone across the whole wall. I ended up deciding on, let's go over here, starting off with a split cap, so it has the rough edge, then a full cap, then a corner, so it has the rough edge again, and then over here there's a full cap piece, and then I had to cut to fit each one of these partials. So there's another cut, there's another cut, and then the back side over here, I'm not worried about this sticking out because this still has to get filled in with topsoil and everything. So that's the back side. And then we come across past all the steps. When we get to the top, it was very slow going. I didn't record any of it because I had to cut every one of these joints on a little bit of an angle, in or out, to make the radius of this wall. And I'll show my imperfection. You can see it right there. I messed up a little where it does a little crook, call it. But I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Doesn't need to be perfect. But yeah, come all the way across, all the caps going. Come all the way through, and then we get to the end where I ended up from this cap to this cap, or this joint I should say. A full cap was like right on the joint. So I ended up filling in, right there, cutting a small piece. It's I'd say about 5 inches wide right here to bump this over. And then I broke off the end to give it a rough edge and have all the corner caps going down here. And then I still have to get the tie-in plate for that. Not tie-in plate, sorry, the screen plate, so animals can't get in that. And then this whole area still needs stone. So the upper retaining wall is officially complete, the wall itself. I need to get the topsoil here to fill in this whole area here. I should say, there's a swale in the yard right here. I want to get some fill on that and raise that up some and then get topsoil across that, because right now 3/4 of the front yard all drain into the driveway. If I raise this up, I can actually slope it back that way where only this smaller section drains into the driveway. That's the goal, at least. And then we got the lower cap glued on here and over here, but my supplier can't actually supply these smaller caps right now. I don't know why. He can't figure out why, but we have to wait for those caps to come in, which is a little unfortunate. And same kind of situation. I can't find the another piece of this aluminum edging to finish off this last 6 or 8 feet or so. I just can't seem to find it anywhere. So kind of waiting on that. I still might just get the gravel in here and get those granite steps set up, and then just have like a foot or so right here without the edging for now. Might do that, but it's coming along. I really want to get the topsoil in here before the end of the grow season. Right now it is just about September, and I really want to get the topsoil in and grass seed on it, so it starts growing. Yeah, because all this is just weeds. All this is, I'm gotta rototill all this to break it all up and then put topsoil on top of it. All right.
Oh yeah.
That looks good. That looks real good. Alright, gonna set up time lapse. Oh yeah. The retaining wall part, the wall itself is complete. And I am very, very happy with how that turned out. That looks great. Alright, I don't know what I'm gonna get to next, whether it be finishing the landscape stone over here, getting the cap on down here, or getting the dirt up here. All depends on what I have time for and when I figure it out. I do hope to get the dirt on here and seed in before fall season so I can plant in the fall season and hopefully get grass. But again, I don't know when that's gonna fall. the old Bobcat at the house, and it is that time of the year to rototill all of this section that has been packed down, disturbed, all that stuff from building the retaining wall. Yeah, I threw down a couple weeks ago, threw down a bunch of grass seed on this section over here just to stop any type of erosion. But now I really got to get the rest of this done. All this whole area is done. The last little bit I have is to get some stone and set the last of the walkway pads in there. Let's get the camera set up on the outside. Inside you can't really see anything, so it's not worth it. So I'm going to set the camera up outside and get at this. Alright, I got the chain harrow hooked up to the quad. Let's go over this and drag it all smooth. Well, I got to touch up a few of the clumps with a rake, but it's pretty much ready for grass seed. Alright, I raked everything out. Now let's spread an excessive amount of seed for this area, because I always overseed. I don't know, it's always a struggle in this yard to get grass to grow, so I spread a lot of seed. Well, I can feel it on my feet that the ground is significantly softer than what it was. There's some spots that are still a little firm underneath, but at least the top is soft so the grass can penetrate. Alright, that is about 30 pounds. I got two 16-pound bags. that's 32, but I left very little left in that bag that's standing up so I can spot treat later. Yeah, let's get the sprinkler set up. All right, well there it is. We got grass seed down, we got the sprinkler going. Hopefully we get some grass growing here up front soon so it gets stabilized before winter time. If you can tell in the background, some of the trees are already changing color. This front hickory is almost full changed. We're into fall now. But yeah, hopefully we can get some grass growing here sometime soon. I'll hopefully get that stone and that other section and the walking pads down, and this whole project will be done. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so should be the last video clip of this. I can't remember where I last left it. I think it was just got the last stone in and kind of was waiting for gravel. Sometime in the last couple months I was able to actually get a little bit of a load of gravel here. So now I'm going to spread all this out, and I'm going to set the last of the walkway pad stones. And I have officially given up on trying to find the cap for these lower blocks, as it appears that they only sell them in the full pallet anymore. And I'm not buying a full pallet for only like 25 stones when it's like 180 on a pallet or something. So if I come across them on Marketplace at some point in time, I'll get them, but otherwise I'm kind of just giving up on that for now. Let's get a video of me spreading all this out and finishing spreading the walkway stones out.
What are you doing for that?
Well, this is a first for me. The top 3 inches is all loose, but the center of the pile is frozen solid. So I'm gonna have to grab the excavator and break it up.
Nice.
No, Mama doesn't want it. Okay. All right, I am calling the wall and whole area officially done. I got the last of these walking pads in and all the stone raked out. Let's do a little walkthrough. All right, so let's go over the whole project. I just had to clean up some of the stuff to get a better view of everything. Still cleaning up some stuff to get a better view. All right, so I built this wall when I first got the house, so that was already here. This originally had mulch in it. This wall went to about right here and then turned 90 degrees across here and connected to right here and then went across there. This little section was lower than over there. Over on that section was all just grass that was higher, like this section. This whole wall was the big project, as you know. From the tree basically to the bottom of the bushes was just a straight slope with very, very little flat section over here. And it was always just a bear of a nightmare to mow and maintain, and kind of just bad overall general situation. It was always flowed water right to the house, which you don't want to do. So years and years and years ago, I always thought of building this wall, but now I finally got to it because I got an excavator. So what we did was build this nice little snake and curvy wall across here. We lowered this section over here so it's level with this. That follows all the way through. We extended this little retaining wall down here, extended this little retaining wall to meet the big retaining wall, and followed this nice walking path through here. I was debating getting rid of these bushes, but honestly, they're still healthy. There's nothing really wrong with them. Maybe in the future I'll get rid of them, maybe I won't. Big thing is this retaining wall now from right here to the tree is basically level. We were able to fill in this area, obviously bring it all up to grade. Over on this far end, I was able to get more of this, again bring this right here up, but get more of this to slope away from the house rather than right towards the house. I continued my walking path all the way through because a lot of the events and parties that we have at the house are outside based, so they don't necessarily always need to go to the front door, but people go to the side yard and the back deck. So in grading this section, I was able to smooth out and make this area less steep because I still do drive my truck over this because all my firewood is back there. Now in extending this whole walkway, the stone actually ended back here. So we bumped out the edge of the stone, so the landscape edging and the grass, we bumped out a couple feet and brought that all the way down to the end of the stairs for the deck. Now there's no walking stones in this area, partly because I bought out everything that the supplier had of these stones, but also partly because this area gets fairly narrow. It might look a little weird having a 2-foot walking stone and only a 3.5-foot section. So decided not to do it there. And all my extra building debris is underneath there and whatnot. Now let's go back this way. The only thing I really got to do now is just get a rodent guard for the end of the drain for behind the retaining wall. But coming down the retaining wall this way, this is back towards the driveway side, as you see. We filled all this in with gravel, crushed stone to make it all nice, matching, look good. We tapered the wall down here. We regraded the front yard, this whole section. Not quite as much as I wanted. I did want to bring it up more, so less water shed towards the driveway. But the more I brought this up, the harder it was going to be to get a vehicle from the driveway to the yard. So still needed to be kind of gradual, but I did bring up probably about a foot, 1.5 feet across the whole area. And again, this edge came up a lot all across here. So I am very, very pleased with how this came out. Little awkward. I didn't know how to, they're completely different stones. I didn't know how to tie this in quite perfect, but I'm happy with how that is. Lower wall, upper wall. Yeah. Definitely gives the house a different look. I can't even, well, I can remember what the house used to look like, but I can't even remember how long ago I actually started this. 2 years ago, maybe? Projects take a long time when they're at your own place. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed watching.